Hi, I'm Andrew,
And I'm Sam.
and we're Envy Board Gaming, and today we're going to be taking a look at Dice Throne Santa versus Krampus. This was a Kickstarter that had just was run this year, actually, so it got turned around really quickly. But this is just a two-character pack. So they came out with this, was expected to get here in December, actually came in a couple months early. So that's pretty awesome. And so, yeah, we already did a playthrough of this game. So if you want to know how to play the game, go and watch that playthrough. If you're not familiar with Dice Throne, that way you can give you kind of a feel of how the game's played. But we're just going to jump right in and do our review for this game. So if you're unfamiliar with Dice Throne is published by Roxley Games. Plays in about 30 minutes for ages 8 and up. And even though this is a two-player pack, if you get more characters, you can play up to 6 players at one time. And there's also Dice Throne Adventures to where you can play cooperatively or even solo, going through like some kind of like dungeon like campaign and fighting bosses, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, check those out as well. So let's go ahead, jump right in. Another Dice Throne set. I
How many
am.
is this now?
Huh?
How many is this now?
So, well, I have the. I think. Well, if you talk about all the like number of characters wise, or the sets.
I guess sets.
Because like you have the Battle Box 1, Battle Box 2, you have Marvel, you have DTA, and now you have this set.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of Dice Throne. I don't think that is something to be shocked at. Dice Throne is a pretty popular game with me, one that I absolutely love. And so I'm really just kind of looking at these two characters. So let's talk about these two characters. And what did you like? Let's start with positives. We'll go with positives first. Because I think we can easily say we're used to Dice Throne. Production is always great. The inserts are really nice, like with the little character holders. The dice are really nice. The tokens are, good. Now I'm like, I'm gonna have to get upgraded tokens for all my guys, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure they'll come up with upgraded ones with these anyway. But what did you like about these two characters?
Well, I would say in general, I really liked the theme of it. I will say, sorry. I thought it was cool that it was like Santa versus Krampus. So I like the characters that they chose in general. Just really creative. Santa, I think playing Santa, I liked that he had the ability to get the eggnog and the cheer, and that kind of like builds off of his abilities, and you're able to hit harder or get special things. So I like that Santa had those extra like abilities. And then for me, for Krampus, he also I think was cool because he had the ability to get the gifts and to give out the coal. So to give out the coal and then using the gifts to get the rejects. I feel like a big positive that Krampus has is the rejects, because it's giving you like making damage undefendable, or it's subtracting damage that you take, or it's just giving you like extra things. So I think they each had their strong parts, but Krampus definitely, I think, adding in the rejects, because that's something I don't think any character we've played before has.
Yeah, no other character has something like
so that made it really unique. And I felt like I was able to play off of those like reject cards very easily. If I, made sure I got enough gifts and things like that. So I think, each of them had their own like good qualities, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think they're unique to where they feel different from any other characters that are out there. Krampus, I really like the rejects. It is something new. You have your own little reject deck, and there is a lot of. I mean, they're almost all like I don't even say almost all of them are good. Extra rolls, defense, extra hits, healing. The undefendable, all this stuff. really good. And the cards that are in his deck play off of those really well too, which I like that there are some that are just kind of quirky and funny in the decks.
Yeah.
That you just have to have, like if you have a certain reject that's available, Krampus has cards like, oh, if this one's active, you can play this card and it does something special.
Mm-hmm.
Or Santa, if you do a special ability like naughty or nice and your opponent's naughty, like this
You have
extra
to
little thing
apologize
happens.
for
Right.
it.
So
Yeah.
I always like that in the cards, which I know they're usually, that's, you know, you can expect that from Roxley and Dice Throne.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Santa, I like that it was really almost like those status management, like managing those status effects. Because like you only have two, you have cheer and eggnog, but I mean, cheer gives you more rolls. If you have three, that's an automatic 6, so that makes getting ultimates a little bit easier.
Yeah.
The eggnog is going to either deal undefendable damage, and these are any time I can spend these, deal undefendable damage, or I'm going to get healing and either CP or a card. So Santa really is going to like you work around managing those status effect tokens. So I think those are great. So I think they play differently to where it doesn't feel like, oh, this is a rip off of somebody else. You know, it's not just a reskin for Christmas theme, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't get that impression at all. I mean, I already talked about quality production's really good. With Krampus, I mean, the coal is interesting because it's like, oh, I have to have 4. But I mean, if it takes away some CP, that could be a big deal, you know? Those gifts, trying to have always those 3 active rejects, that's a huge thing. Because not only does that make your attacks, because Krampus can hit so hard. Like
if you're rolling
really
the right stuff,
right.
like you can,
and it helps your defense because if you just roll 1-6, if I have 3 rejects, I'm dealing 3 damage. So it's like that give and take of managing those. Do I want to spend these, but then I might not have them for my defense, you know, or however you're going to do it. So
there's also that one card that lets you keep a reject without discarding.
You don't have to spend it, which is nice too. So they do have a very different gameplay. I think they each have their pros and cons. Like, I don't know. I when I first started playing this, I thought, oh, Krampus is by far better. The last couple times I've played Santa, he's actually won, and so you know, I was like, wow, this is, because I think the first time I played it, I was like, no way Santa can. But even in our playthrough, I mean, it was barely a win, but it was a win, and so so I thought that was really good.
Pulled it through.
Yeah. So so Santa and Krampus, those are the pros. What about the cons? Did you have any cons? Negatives?
I would say probably the only thing I had with Santa was that I wasn't accumulating as much eggnog and cheer based on what I was rolling, which is part of the game. You know, like you might just not have good rolls, but I felt like that was such a big part of his character. And if you're not really, you know, rolling the right stuff to get the eggnog and the cheer, like you're kind of like, ugh, well, he's, you know, it's okay. But I would say really that's like my only negative is that, you know, is that is such a huge part of him. And that if you don't roll well, then it kind of, you know, he's not as powerful.
I don't know, naughty or nice, you're hitting for at least 10 to 12.
Yeah, if you can get naughty or nice.
I know, but I think I
you know, I mean, I think when I played him though, I was just rolling like awful, like it wasn't that great. So, I mean, it's luck, you know. So, but with Krampus, I don't know if I really had any negatives for him, to be honest, because I felt like even if the rolls weren't that great, having the rejects as like a backup, you know, like
the rejects are awesome.
Yeah.
They're really good. I mean, Krampus is the harder character to play because you have a difficulty 2 with Santa and a difficulty 4 with Krampus. For me, I mean, I don't have a ton of negatives. I don't have a ton of negatives in Dice Throne in general. I think these work. And I mean, yes, there's luck, but what's great is this game is done in 30 minutes. So if it's a game that's that's quick like that, I don't mind there being luck in my game because I'll be like, all right, set it up, let's go again, and I can play it over and over and over again, right? I can have unlucky rolls. I can have really lucky rolls.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. And that's
Right.
why I don't hold that against Dice Throne very often, just because it is such a quick game. It is a big element. Anybody can beat anybody at any given time.
Honestly, I mean, I feel like Santa can be very powerful, but it would have been cool if maybe they gave him like elves as like his like his little minions, and then they gave him like extra stuff like he has the rejects.
No, I don't know. I like them both. I think the more I play Santa, I do like him a little bit. I mean, I'm generally gravitate towards the more complex characters, so I do favor Krampus a little bit, just because that's just how I always trend to go. But I think if you can manage those tokens and get a supply of cheer and eggnog, you could definitely pest your like. And I think Santa's ultimate. I've never gotten it yet, but if I can get it, it lets you take a whole nother offensive turn.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I just want to. If I could just, I think he's still pretty decent.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any negatives. It's hard for me to say, other than luck. But again, I don't really hold it against it. But if you don't like luck in your games, you're not gonna like it. But again, it's only 30 minutes to play.
Right.
I mean, it's Dice Throne. It's a good game. It's more Dice Throne. I can't complain. So anyway, we won't waste any more time getting into reviews because we've talked about a lot of Dice Throne. And now, since we did our Dice Throne, well, I did my Dice Throne rankings back when it was like 16 characters. Now there's another. We had the six. Oh, is it 8 Marvel and now these two? I'm gonna have to go back and redo my rankings.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe I should. It's been a year. Maybe I need to update that list because there have been a lot of characters, a lot of good characters that have come out this year.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna have to do that. But let's go ahead and jump into rankings. I'll let you go first. What would you rate Dice Throne Santa versus Krampus?
I think I'm going to give it a little higher than I do the other Dice Thrones. And I mean, I'm a really big fan of like theme, obviously.
Right.
But I think this was like brilliant to do. And I mean, I think Krampus is really cool, like just the whole concept in general. But yeah, so I'm going to give it, I think, I'm going to give it like an 8.3.
8.3.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish it was more than just 2 characters, but that's just me being greedy. So that's why I'm like, I'm just rating these 2 characters. They're great characters. It's not like all the other ones. I don't know where I'd rank these exactly, but I know as a set, I'm still gonna rate this as an 8. It's an 8. It's a solid play. I really wouldn't mind.
I actually gave it more than you.
You did. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's an 8. But I mean, I love Dice Throne as a whole. So I mean, it's not my favorite Dice Throne set, but that's because all my other sets have 8 characters.
Right.
So I mean, I would be okay with throw in the Easter Bunny, throw in whoever
Easter
else.
Bunny versus the Tooth Fairy.
Something I would be okay with that, but I don't care. Whatever they throw out, I take it. So I give it an 8. It's a solid set.
Yeah.
I would say pick it up for sure. Great game. Yeah, we'll have to check back and see where I rank them all at. So
I was surprised because you said they were coming out with 2 new characters for Dice Throne when this was announced, and we were like,
it was like Christmas in July. It was literally the campaign was in July and it fulfilled. Like we just got it. Like
we were like, ago. What? Like what? Weren't expecting those 2 characters at all.
Right, yeah, but it's cool.
Yeah, I like
it. So if you like Dice Throne, if you already have Dice Throne, you know you're eventually probably gonna get this. I mean, maybe you're like, it's just pacing on. It's really not. It is very thematic. Great game. And if you haven't played Dice Throne, this is a good little 2-player pack to get into, especially if you're looking for a Christmas gift. This would be great. If somebody's looking for a Christmas gift, I mean, it is Christmas themed. It's good. It's really good. So yeah.
Especially if like you have people that like to play games in like 30 minutes or less.
Right. And this
know,
game is such a
and
big
it's
hit with
easy
everybody
setup.
that I've played with. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so that's going to be our review. Check out Dice Throne, Santa versus Krampus. Also, check out our other videos. Go watch our playthrough. Let us know what you think. Who should be the next set? I hope they keep coming out with more.
Yeah.
I don't know where they all plan, but who do you hope will be the next set? It doesn't have to be like a holiday theme, but just what would you like to see in the game? All right. So until next time, please like, comment, subscribe, and click the little bell icon so you get a notification every single time we post a video. And we will see you guys on the next one. Ho, ho, ho!